this is Sarah with Soiled Plant, and this is my 2-month update video for my Greenspaces.id order. This should be a quick one because all of these plants you've seen before in my other video. It's just I'm going to be giving you sort of a update, how they're doing, which ones did well, which ones struggled, and all of that. So let's get right into it. First up is the Philodendron Atabapoense. When I got this one in, it had 4 leaves. It had this one here, these 2, and then this one with the tip cut off. All 4 of them have survived and they're doing very well. They don't show any excess wear and tear. This one, which was kind of in the worst condition, looked about the same as when I got it. It hasn't gotten much worse. I did, however, get a brand new leaf, and that one is right here. It's still small, it's coming in, and this one, which is very, very cute, very pretty, this one was coming in when I bought the plant. So when I got it in, it had the 4 leaves and it had this one that was on the way. And so it is unfurled, it's healthy, it's all in one piece, and I've got another growth point right here that looks very good. It looks like it'll be a little bit bigger. Eventually I'd like to pot this up with a moss pole in order to grow up. Right now it's just in a normal pot and it's a little floppy, but it seems to be doing okay. It would just probably be happier if it had a moss pole. I've got it in a clear pot so I can always keep an eye on the root system, see how it's doing. And it does seem to be doing very well. My Philodendron Atabapoense gets an A+. It was very easy to restore, nothing bad happened to it. I think the leaves are definitely hardy enough to withstand shipment. They're very leathery almost like a belt. And honestly, would order again, it was perfect, loved it. Next up is the Philodendron Gloriosum. This one came with 3 leaves and it had one that was pretty much dead. It was all yellow all the way through when it came in, and it also had a nice healthy node on it. The 3 leaves that it came with are still on the plant and still doing very well. They don't show any additional wear and tear, so I think they're gonna live a nice full life on the plant. My node is now turned into an unfurling leaf, just barely. It's still coming out and it's still very, very dainty and very delicate. But it did come out and it looks to be a decent size, even though, you know, all the shipping and everything. Now the Philodendron Gloriosum is what we call a runner. That is where the stem runs horizontal to the ground right on top of the soil line, and then these stalks will come up from that horizontal stem. And when I potted this up, I wasn't aware of that, and I buried the stem a little too much, so I do think I'm going to remove some of this soil now that I know its growth pattern and understand the plant a little better. So hopefully it'll do even better, but even with me burying the stem a little bit, it has been doing very, very well. You can see on the clear pot I have that the roots are just going crazy. Can you see that? How beautiful that is? Just everywhere. It's super happy. It's just so, so happy. And honestly, I was surprised at how hardy this thing is. The leaves on this one aren't nearly as beefy and as, you know, thick and strong as the Atabapoense is. So I was very, very happy with the fact that aside from the 1 leaf that was already pretty much dead, they've all done very well, rebounded. Haven't had that much shock, honestly. Would recommend ordering one of these 2. Next up, we're going to do the next 2 together because they are both my Alocasia Frydeks. The small one I potted up and lost both of the leaves. They were both, one of them was pretty much yellow and the other one was starting to yellow, so I knew they wouldn't last long. The stem itself deteriorated all the way back down. Just recently, this is a new growth point coming up. So it's salvageable, but overall, I would say this one is the most disappointing of all of the ones I got. When it came with only those 2 leaves that were both, one of them was pretty much gone and the other one was on the way out from the second it got here. It's hard to sustain a plant when all of the leaves on it are just not happy. On the other hand, the bigger Alocasia Frydek is booming. It is a huge success. Now those 2, the little one and this one, were right next to each other. They have the same light, same humidity, same temperature, same everything. So it's not the conditions I'm giving it that killed that other plant, is all I'm trying to say, because this one is just thriving. When this one came in, it had 3 leaves. One of them was pretty small and one of them was yellowing already. And the yellowing one is already gone. This is the one that was small and looked to be on the way out, and it still looks to be kind of on the way out. It's kind of holding on for dear life. This was the leaf on it that was actually good and healthy when I got it in. At this point, it's also deteriorating and on the way out, but look, it has grown 3 leaves since then, or 2 leaves I should say, and then one almost unfurling and on the way out. Yeah. It's super cool. If you're not familiar with how alocasia grow their leaves, they grow up like a point like that, and then as they unfurl, they flatten out and turn over. So cool to watch. It would make a wonderful time lapse if I had the time or energy to work on something like that. This leaf is insane. I can't even see it in front here. I'll back it up. Like, look at this thing. You can compare it to my head if you want. It's so beautiful. I am so in love with this plant. And I actually have another Alocasia Frydek, and it's doing the same thing as this one, where it's just like poo, 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 poo. Leaves everywhere, and they're all gigantic and perfect and beautiful and just, ugh. I'm so happy I got one of these. This has been on my wish list pretty much since I discovered houseplants and YouTube and all of that. As soon as I saw one, I'm like, I've got to get one of those. Those are so beautiful. And honestly, in the conditions I'm giving it, it has been growing like gangbusters. Just, oh, so cool. This is the first leaf it put out when I first got it. Super healthy size, especially compared to the one that it's replacing. This was the oldest leaf when the plant came into me, and it did not have a growth point. So this one grew completely in my conditions, and it's about the same size, and then it went up to this size, which is crazy. And then this one back here, I don't know, it looks to be about this one's size instead of this one, but that's fine by me, because honestly, if this whole plant turned into this, I'm gonna run out of space real quick. So for Alocasia Frydeks, I'm kind of on the fence about whether you should order these online. If you know for a fact it's going to be a pretty decent sized plant, I would say absolutely, because it'll rebound really, really well, kill off the old leaves, but it'll rehabilitate itself really, really well. If you're buying a plant with only 2 leaves on it or something like that, and you know it happens to be that small, I would probably pass, just because if something like this happens, it takes a long time to recuperate. It's been 2 months, and it basically spent the whole 2 months dying. And it's just now starting to revive itself. This new growth point came up, I want to say about a week and a half ago. So I would definitely recommend getting a Frydek if it's a decent sized plant. If it's small, I would pass. Next up is my Monstera Peru. This one came in with 4 leaves, and I lost the bottom leaf because I was careless, and when I was, trying to get everything all situated, I accidentally broke it off. So that's 100% on me. That's not on the plant itself. But the 3 leaves I have left still are doing very well. This one is starting to discolor a little bit, so it's probably not super long for this world. I haven't gotten a new growth off of it yet. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but it doesn't seem incredibly happy. So it's had this little offshoot for a while. It hasn't really grown or done anything, but so far so good. It's doing okay. Haven't lost anything, haven't gained anything, so kind of middle of the road. Overall, this plant has been pretty stagnant. It hasn't deteriorated, but it hasn't grown, especially compared to some of the other ones that seem to be just super happy or die. This one's just right in the middle. It's not doing either of those things. So I'm a little confused about this one. If you have some tips or tricks, I'm sure it would love a moss pole. Along with the Atabapoense, I'm sure it would much prefer a moss pole, and I'm working on that. But in the meantime, is there anything different I should do to it? I recently moved this plant to a new spot, hoping it'll be a little bit happier. If I don't see much change in a couple of weeks, then I might move it again. For this one, I'm a little stumped. So if you have any advice whatsoever, please write it in a comment down below. I would love to hear it and get your advice. So that is my Monstera Peru. Last is my Philodendron Melanochrysum. It came with 2 leaves that were almost identical like this, and I did lose the other to this set. In addition to the 2 leaves it did have a growth point in the back. That one I also lost. It ended up rotting and I took it off, but there was a new one underneath, and it has been growing and it's been doing pretty well. So I'm hoping that the new one or the new shoot that came up that's growing is going to do a lot better than the other one. But this shoot is brand new and I'm hoping it'll rebound a little bit. So this one's also been kind of stagnant, but I've seen actual growth with this one. The shoot is brand new, so I'm really looking forward to seeing a brand new Melanochrysum leaf. Been a little while coming. I've been worried about this one mainly because I feel like they are pretty sensitive. They're pretty hard to ship and ship well and have them survive. So I'm really holding a lot of hope on that one little stalk there. I want you to survive. I want you to thrive and do well. This lone remaining leaf has been a little bit of a workhorse, doing all the photosynthesizing for the plant and making sure this new growth happens. So it's hanging in there and it's doing well, and I'm very thankful for it. As a bonus, I'd like to give you a little update on my Alocasia Silver Dragon. Here she is. She is down to one leaf, one lone little leaf. Here's my little 2-inch pot that I potted her up in, and this leaf is starting to deteriorate as well. I lost all of the leaves, obviously, but there is roots growing. I know for sure there's roots growing because I can see them even through the soil on the top here. There's been some that have been peeking out. I've checked on it pretty regularly, so it's definitely going to be okay. It'll take a while to rehabilitate for sure. So way in the back, there's this little tiny growth point that's going to hopefully be the start of this beautiful Alocasia Silver Dragon, and it's going to rebound and be happy as a clam someday. We will see. This Alocasia Silver Dragon is one that I got from Root Greenhouse. All of the roots got root rot, rotted off, and I ended up having to kind of deconstruct the whole thing, you know, put some root hormone on it and then plant it up. You can see all the drama with that with the video I'm going to link below of where I pot up my root greenhouse order. I also potted up the Melanochrysum in that video as well. I waited on potting this one up mainly because of how poorly the new growth was doing, so I didn't want to put shock on it when it was already going through shock. So I was trying to keep the plant as consistent as possible, so that's why I didn't plant this one up right away. But we'll see if I can get a new leaf before the end of summer. That is my goal. Yeah, my sad little Alocasia Dragon scale. Of the plants I ordered, I would definitely say the winners as far as shipping, rehabilitation once it got to my home and everything. The winners definitely go to the Gloriosum and the Philodendron Atabapoense. They're super hardy, they rebounded well, they're growing like crazy, they're super happy. So I would say yes to those two. Gloriosum, Atabapoense, I'd give an A. I'm kind of 50-50 on the Frydek just because I had such a good experience with one and such a bad experience with another, and you don't know the size or how many leaves the plants come with. So I would definitely say cautiously yes for the Alocasia Frydek, especially if you can't really find them around you or everywhere is sold out and you really want one. It might be worth the risk for you. I've been overall very happy, and if one of the two survives, I'll be happy. I'll give it a B, maybe a B minus. Philodendron Peru, I'll probably give my C to, just because it's just not doing anything, and I don't know if it's cool and it's happy and that's just what it does. I'd need to know a little bit more about that, but I'd give it like a C. And I'd also give the Melanochrysum a C. You know, I bought the medium size hoping that it would be a little more robust and survive, and it is surviving, but kind of barely. And I feel like I'm giving it very, very good conditions. It's in a greenhouse, it's getting very good light, it's getting very good humidity, and it's kind of struggle bussing its way to survival. So I'll say a C. A C, I'll give it that. I think that's fair. Overall, I had a very good experience with Greenspaces.id. I did order at the beginning of the pandemic, so they waited on shipping. I didn't get it till the end of April, and this is about 2 months after getting the plants, and overall I'm very, very happy with them. They're doing very well, they're thriving, I love them, and I'm very happy I ordered. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is Sarah with Soiled Plant. Don't forget to like, write a comment down below. Any tips on the Alocasia or the Monstera Peru especially, those ones I seem to be having the most trouble with. Also, Melanochrysum, like, are these slow growers? Do I need to worry? Do I need to do something different? Also, please subscribe. I am posting weekly, and sometimes I'll throw in a little bonus video here or there. But overall, it's been a great experience ordering from Greenspaces.id, and I would probably do it again depending on the mix of plants they get. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!